Hey everybody, it's me, Imani, or Hopeless Romantic. This video is going to be a little different. Normally I'm on here doing my hair or something like that, but I just want to talk this time. I just hit my 1 year mark in Florida. I'm originally from Kentucky, and last year I moved to Florida all on my own. I mean, I have some family in the area, but it was a decision that I made by myself, and I live here by myself. For the most part, I'm kind of just out on a limb on my own, and I was doing some reflecting over the year that I've spent here, and I guess I just wanted to share some of my reflections. Hopefully they help someone or inspire someone who's considering moving or making a really big decision all on their own. The first lesson that I learned was to step out of my comfort zone. I don't always know that I'm in my comfort zone. I don't always realize it as I'm in my comfort zone. I think I'm just doing the things that I know how to do, but sometimes I get really comfortable, and comfort can bring complacency. And so I was in Louisville, and I was around all my friends, and my parents live there. My church family is there. Anything that I wanted to do, any access I wanted to something, I could get it because of who I am. And it's people that I've known all my life, or it's just easier for me being in a familiar place. And so I thought, there's all these things that I want to do career-wise and everything, and it just would be easier for me if I just stayed here because I have all these connections and I know all these people and blah blah blah. But there were a few things pushing me to move. Some changes with my job, some changes with my finances, and then just overall kind of not being satisfied. I was there, I was doing some great things, but you just kind of get an inner pull to do something else and to just step out and make a leap of faith. So stepping out of my comfort zone was the very first thing that I had to do, was decide that it's okay if it's uncomfortable. I know that I'm gonna get to Florida and I'm gonna be a little uncomfortable, but that's okay because I'll eventually make friends and I'll eventually make connections. And if I'm being pushed and pulled in this direction, then I should just go with it. It'll bring comfort eventually. The second lesson that I learned was that I really just need to sometimes worry about me. Again, I was in Louisville around all these people and places and things that are familiar, and I'm a very hands-on, like, community-based person. I'm always doing something, and a lot of the some things that I do help someone else. And I've always been that way. That's the way I was raised, that you don't just live your life for yourself, you live to help other people. And so all the things that I was doing, I was talking to girls groups about this, and teaching youth group Bible study at church, and directing the youth and young adult choir at church, and my job was about helping people, and I was teaching at a school there. But at some point, and thinking about moving made me think, like, what are all these people going to do when I leave? And then it just occurred to me, like, what were they doing before I existed? What were they doing before I got here? People are okay without me. I've never thought of myself as just high and mighty person or just like super important, but I always felt like someone is depending on me, and me moving away would let them down. But staying in Louisville, I might let myself down. So I had to take that into account and just take a moment and really worry about myself and think, will I regret not moving away? As opposed to, if I move away, will I regret moving away? I don't think that I would do that, because I live for stuff like this. I live to make decisions that are kind of tough, but that will bring you learning experiences and stuff like that. So I thought that the risk was greater moving away, but the reward was also greater moving away. I wouldn't regret leaving my comfort zone, even if I had to come back. So the next lesson that I learned, speaking of coming back, was that failure is relative. Something that I'm always afraid of before I do something really big, before I make a really big decision. I'm always scared, what if it falls completely apart? Everyone sees that I'm doing this thing, whatever it is. Everybody sees this, and it could potentially fall apart, and then I'll have to fail, and I'll have to fail in public. Like, everyone will see what I'm doing, and they'll say, she tried to do, I remember that time she tried to do that thing, and it fell through, and, that's really unfortunate. What's she doing now? But failure is relative. If I picked up my entire life and moved to Florida, only made it a year, maybe 2, heck, if I only made it 6 months, guess what? I did a thing. I made a really huge decision and I did it on my own. That still counts as a success to me. If anyone saw me move away and have to move back and thought that I had failed at something, that, you know, that's their judgment. I failed relative to what their idea of success is. And if I create my own idea of success, failure in someone else's eyes doesn't have to matter to me. So after I put that out of my mind, after I put the possibility that this might not work out of my mind, and stopped thinking about what people were going to think about me when they saw me, you know, it was just like, whatever, I'm just going to go do it. Another really important lesson that I learned is that loneliness happens to everyone. I'm the kind of person who I am always on the go, and so I detach myself from things so that I don't have to feel anything when it's over, you know? And sometimes it works out. Sometimes I'm not very successful at detaching from things, and you know, it gets emotional when whatever that thing is over. But I realized that about myself, that, you know, I don't really miss a lot of people all the time because I emotionally detach from people, places, and things so that when they're done, I don't have to feel anything. And that's not a good way to live. But once I moved out here and didn't have any friends, I have an uncle here, but he has a life. He has his own friends. He has, you know, a relationship and all that kind of stuff. So it's not like I was up under him all the time. It was just me and my dog. So I got here and, you know, my day-to-day life was lonely at first. It was like, wow, I'm really here by myself. And maybe I didn't always have someone to talk to. Maybe I always couldn't pick up the phone and call someone and tell them about my day or something like that. You just don't always have someone. It's not someone that I can call and say, hey girl, want to come over and watch Monday night television with me? I'm bored. Or have a glass of wine with me, or go out and hang out with someone. I also don't make friends. I'm a fairly friendly person. I'm a nice person, but I, again, don't connect to people very quickly because I'm always thinking about, okay, when this is over, you need to be able to detach. So it has taken me a year, like seriously, to make friends here. I don't really have a close friend here still. I have friends in the area and they come and visit and everything, but my day-to-day life doesn't include hanging out with lots of friends or having drinks with a girlfriend after work. Like, I've been visiting a couple of churches, but I don't even have a solid church home just yet because I'm trying to make sure that everything is the right fit and everything like that. So loneliness does happen and it's okay. Like, you don't have to beat yourself up for feeling lonely. But you should definitely talk to someone about your loneliness. It took me a nervous breakdown to really realize that I really needed to open up and talk to someone about the fact that I was very lonely here, and that, you know, that hurt my feelings, that I really didn't have anyone to go to that could come over, or that I could go to their house all the time, and that talking to people on the phone and on FaceTime wasn't enough for me. I never imagined I'd be that kind of person because I'd never been put in a situation where all I had was myself. So yeah, that was a really big lesson for me. Loneliness happens. It happens to everyone. And as long as you can be honest with yourself about the fact that you're lonely and not use that loneliness to do something that might harm yourself, or, you know, make some bad decisions or whatever, open up and talk to people about it. Don't be embarrassed about the fact that you're lonely, because it happens to everyone. The final lesson that I learned, and it's actually the number one lesson, but I'm saving it for last because this is literally the most important thing that I could ever tell anyone. Trust God and trust yourself. Before I moved, there were all these things. I was praying for something. I was saying, God, I'm not satisfied here. And I know that dissatisfaction means that I'm being pushed or pulled towards something. And I really want to know what that is. I want to realize that in my life. I want to know what's the next thing I'm supposed to do. I was so confused. I didn't know what was happening. And then all of a sudden, like I said, things started happening around me. I worked multiple jobs. One of my jobs was about to close down. I had turned 26 and I got kicked off my parents' insurance, and the insurance that I had was only for a certain amount of time because I couldn't afford the other, like the better version of the insurance, and that was about to expire. And I was just like, I don't have it all together and I'm going crazy. And it was like that discomfort was God telling me, okay, prepare yourself, because this is not your last stop. You are being pushed and pulled towards something, and I need you to be ready to go when I send you there. I need you to not be trying to hold on to the last little bit of something. So things started disappearing out of my life. My health insurance was gone. One of my jobs was closing down. I was just like, really, like, what am I supposed, I'm about to not have a livelihood here, and I don't know what's next. And then all of a sudden, my uncle sent me this job description and was like, I know this is random, and I don't know that you've been thinking about moving. I don't know what you have going on at home, but consider this. And I looked at it, and it's exactly what I wanted to do. Like this, I looked at the job description and I was like, it's for me. This is for me. And so I took the leap, and I said, you know, my gut feeling was telling me that something is about to happen, that I can't just be losing things that are very important to my everyday livelihood for nothing to happen for me. I refuse to believe that, you know, all these things are falling apart and nothing will ever go right again. Something is going to happen, and there's going to be a sign that says, this is for you, go get it. And that was it for me. I said, this is going to be very scary and nerve-wracking to move to a whole new place, live by myself in a city where I don't know anybody, but I can do this, and I know I can do it because I'm being pushed to do it. And if I'm being pushed to do it, if God is telling me that I can do it, he's telling me that I'm equipped to do it. And anything that I need, I already have, and anything that needs to grow in me will grow during the process. So I did it. I just picked up my things, I packed up my car, I drove 14 hours from Louisville, Kentucky, all the way to the Orlando area of Florida. After I moved here and I started feeling the loneliness, I was like, oh my God, I started second guessing everything. And I know, like, I was so sure when I left home. I was like, this is the thing that God is telling me to do, because I have all these signs around me that are telling me that this is good. This is a good thing. This is what I should be doing. But once I got here, I started second guessing that, because the feelings of loneliness set in. I was having a couple of financial issues because it cost me a lot to move down here. And I was just thinking, was this a terrible idea? Like, am I really about to have to turn right back around and go back home within 2 or 3 months? This is crazy. Like, what's going on? I'm like, God, I'm here. Did you leave me? What's going on? And within not even 6 months of being here, I got the opportunity to be promoted to a different position. It was with the same organization, same company and everything, but it was a different position, and it was making a couple more dollars. Like, it wasn't anything drastic, but I was going to be making more money, and I felt like that was another sign that's saying, no, this is where I told you to go. Stay where you are and just ride this out. Ride out the loneliness. See how I'm going to change your financial situation. This isolation is going to push you to do things you never knew you were capable of, and that was the answer to the prayers that I had been praying. Why am I dissatisfied? It wasn't just about the move. It was about the fact that God was about to take me to a place of isolation to show me things about myself that I didn't even believe I could do. And I'm still in the process of that. I started a blog at the top of this year called ChristianControlFreak.com, and it's basically about that, about the fact that I have a rather type A personality. I like to have control over things, but that power struggle between myself and the spirit, it doesn't have to always be a struggle. Like, there is a level of control you have over your own life, but you also have to yield some of that power to God, because ultimately God has the last say anyway, and God has your best interest at heart. So whenever you are relinquishing control to God, you're doing what's in your best interest. You're not just doing this thing just to satisfy God and appease God's ego or anything like that. God knows what is best for you. So not doing things on your own and doing it with God's help and listening and praying, that's what God wants you to do. And that was a lesson that I had to learn coming out here. So I started that blog. I started a podcast with a friend of mine. I don't think I would have done those things at home in Kentucky because I wouldn't have had to. I wouldn't have had the time to, one, because I had my hands on all of these things, and I wouldn't have had the time, the adequate time to devote to those things. But I was so comfortable, I didn't feel the need to press forward and do anything spectacular or do anything that required some real thought and some real time and dedication and discipline for myself. I didn't feel like I needed that because I felt like I was already doing that with all the things that I was doing at home. So yeah, that last lesson, to trust God and trust your instincts, because God gave you those instincts, that's the most important lesson that I have learned this entire time. And again, I am still in the process of learning what the heck I'm doing out here. What is the end goal? I don't know that I'll be in this area forever. I don't know that this is my last stop either, but I know that there are some things that I'm going to be doing here that are going to surprise even me. And I'm grateful for that. I'm so grateful for the opportunity that I got to move. I would encourage anyone who feels dissatisfied with their life and feels like they are being pushed and pulled in a certain direction, but they don't know how it's going to happen. Just do it. The how will figure itself out. If you feel like that is what you're supposed to be doing, you feel like that for a reason. God can do what God wants done with or without us. But if he's allowing you the opportunity to participate in something that is far beyond you, realize that it is far beyond you. Whatever fear you have, the fear is personal. And so you deal with that and you push past it. The fear is trying to make you make a personal decision that will affect something way far beyond you. So make the decision through your fear. Do what God or your inner self, or however you identify with your higher power or your higher being, however you identify with that, whatever that is telling you to do, however you feel about that, just do it. It will work itself out. And you'll start to learn and grow, and you'll wonder, why was I even afraid to do this in the first place? I can do this. I'm prepared to do this. I know I'm prepared to do this because I'm being called to do it. Those are the lessons that I learned from taking a huge leap of faith and moving to an entirely different state on my own. It's an everyday learning process. I'm kind of a leaf in the wind. Like, I feel like after I've done this, I can live anywhere. I don't, you know, and I can push through the loneliness. I can figure out what I'm doing there. I can find my purpose wherever I'm going to be. And I know it's just one move, but, you know, that's just, I feel that empowered after doing this. And I hope and pray this for everybody. I hope that everyone gets to have some type of experience that validates your entire existence, that says, you did this and you were scared to do it, and then you did it anyway, and it turned out wonderfully. Like, look at you, look at yourself. Don't you feel so good about yourself? You did the thing that you were scared of. I hope and pray that for everybody. Everybody deserves to feel like they have done a thing that they can be proud of. And I know I only did this through God's grace and protection. So, you know, props to God, because I could have lost my whole mind and all of my belongings out here, but you know, I've been sustained. But I really do pray this feeling for everyone. I pray this type of experience for everyone. Even if it doesn't come through a huge move, everyone will have to take some sort of leap of faith at some point in their lives, and I hope and pray that you don't let fear stop you. Thanks for watching this video. Like I said, I just really wanted to share some of the things that I learned during my move. I hope that it helped and inspired someone. Yeah, subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more of me and what I've been doing. My hair, you know, all the cool stuff. All right, that's it. Bye.